G20 summit opens in Brazil. Hunger and poverty reduction. Conflict in Ukraine. Top agenda. Federal government takes more steps to address challenges in health sector.
It is time to strengthen the capacity of our researchers, healthcare providers, and innovators to lead in health and sustainable development.
We owe this duty to Nigeria.
Proposed reforms are not to increase tax burden. Federal government assures Nigerians. It's nice to have you join the network news on NTA tonight. I'm Naja'atu Tijani, and as usual, Musa Abubakar will bring us up to speed on events in the business world. Musa, what's on the table tonight?
Japan Gold and Ventures lead top traders. Equities market begins in positive territory.
Thank you, Musa. And Bade Adeleye has sports highlights. Bade, tough luck out for the Super Eagles earlier. What could have happened?
Well, Najatu, schoolboy errors were made. The defense of the Super Eagles were caught napping, and of course, the more determined side won today.
All right, then, we'll see about that. Meanwhile, remember that this broadcast is being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live. And you can catch the replay on our YouTube channel. And do follow us across social media as well. And now let's begin with the G20 summit. President Bola Tinubu is in Rio de Janeiro, attending the opening session of the annual summit of the G20 leaders. At the venue, President Tinubu, accompanied by First Lady Oluremi, was received by host President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Leaders of member countries attending the event include President Joe Biden of the United States, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and Emmanuel Macron, among others. The first session of the summit is focusing on the fight against hunger and poverty. Members and other nations of the world are being encouraged under the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty Group to scale up finance and knowledge for human development. State House correspondent Musbau Nawahab reports that President Bola Tinubu is expected to address the gathering in this regard. President Bola Tinubu has dispatched a delegation to discuss security matters with the leadership of Chad Republic. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, is leading the delegation, accompanied by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. The delegation met with Chadian President Mohamed Idris Deby Itno in N'Djamena on Sunday, 17th November 2024. Nuhu Ribadu delivered President Bola Tinubu's message expressing condolences over the recent terrorist attack which claimed the lives of several Chadian soldiers. The team also conveyed the Nigerian leader's message of solidarity with Chad, a key partner in regional security efforts. The discussion between the Chadian president and Nigerian delegation focused largely on security cooperation, with both countries pledging to intensify joint operations against jihadist groups operating in the Lake Chad basin. Ribadu describes the discussions as fruitful, adding that Nigeria is committed to working more closely with Chad to tackle shared security threats. And back home in Nigeria, the federal government has launched the Grand Challenges Nigeria project, designed to drive innovation in solving health and other national issues. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who launched the project at the banquet hall of the presidential villa, describes it as a major step in delivering on the promises of the renewed Hope government. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
We are gathered here today with a shared sense of purpose and agency. An agency imposed upon us by the rapid pace at which our world is evolving in the realms of science and technology.
Grand Challenges Nigeria, established to fund and advance impactful research and innovations in health, food systems, and development in Nigeria.
This initiative is also an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to inclusivity and equity in serving Nigerians, especially the underserved. It is time to strengthen the capacity of our researchers, healthcare providers, and innovators to lead in health and sustainable development.
Driving innovation for a sustainable future for Nigerians is the theme of the project.
It reflects our shared commitment to reforming our economy, achieving food security, and prioritizing education, health, nutrition, and social investment as pillars of national development.
What we have here today, however, is a grand challenge for Nigeria that is set to a Nigerian agenda for Nigerian innovators to solve Nigeria's problems.
And through Grand Challenge Nigeria, we aim to create a robust platform for local researchers, healthcare providers, innovators to develop solutions tailored to Nigeria's unique needs.
Stakeholders at the event said building local capacity and fostering collaborations with partners will provide access to saving lives and unlocking the power of innovation through multi-sectoral engagement. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
From health to education, the Senate Committee on Basic and Secondary Education has given states a period of 6 months to access universal basic education matching grants to boost basic education. This was during the committee's oversight to evaluate the implementation of the 2023-2024 budget.
Ensure accountability and transparency in the utilization of fund allotted to UBEC, talking about 2% of the consolidated revenue fund to boost basic education sector. The Senate Committee on Basic and Senior Secondary Education called on the Commission. For the year 2023, only 25 states assessed first to fourth quarter matching grants. 1 state assessed first and second quarter, with 9 states and the FCT lagging behind. And for the year 2024, only 2 states have so far assessed first to second quarter matching grants. Still, 34 states and the FCT are yet to do the needful.
In the proposed new amendment act, will give a timeline for 6 months. If state cannot bring their counter fund, the UBEC counter fund will be sent back to UBEC.
At the Digital Resource Center, the committee lauded the commission and urged the stakeholders to put the herb to good use.
It is important to continue investing in primary education. Primary education is very essential and is the key to good. The biggest gift you can give to any child is education.
Challenges facing the commission, such as delays in project execution, under the utilization of funds by some state governments, and the need for stringent monitoring mechanism were also discussed.
Still on education, the Tertiary Education Fund has made good its promise of assembling researchers and innovators which a country can leverage to enhance technology. This was at the maiden edition of its National Research Fair, which aligns with the present administration's renewed hope agenda on domesticating local research results for the composite objective of job and wealth creation, leading to the ultimate strengthening of the economy.
Wherever TED Fund is mentioned, what readily comes to mind is physical infrastructural development and first lift of the tertiary institutions. But in this case, and as part of its mandate, the fund also intervene in the areas of improving studies and development of research materials of scholar, among others.
Research and innovation system is a cardinal factor in determining the quality of life of a people and the overall status of the nation.
We believe that our Nigerian educational structure is up to it.
TED Fund is convinced that the research and innovation system is a major driver of the economy and the ultimate industrialization of Nigeria, a vehicle for transformation to modernity, asset, independent, economy, self-reliant, and export-oriented.
This collaboration will create jobs, grow the economy, and our country will shift from a consumer to a producing nation.
Third Fund further recognized the imperative to enhance the linkages of these impressive academic performances to industry.
This effort is to support public and private sector for the overall interest of the country.
We are a scientific research institution. So if we tell you that this product is useful in treating diabetes, you should know that scientists have done it. Our competency is top-notch.
This tricycle came into being as a result of the removal of the fuel subsidy. It is powered by a 6 kilowatt, 40 kg lithium-ion battery that lasts for 6 years.
This National Research Fair is a clarion call to all tertiary institutions and research institutes in Nigeria to conduct their teaching, research and innovations such that it can be applied effectively towards addressing Nigeria's developmental challenges.
Still on Nigeria's developmental challenges, the federal government is assuring Nigerians that tax reforms being proposed by the Tinubu administration will not increase the tax burden on Nigerians, but expand the nation's tax base by leveraging technology. This was during an interactive session at the House of Representatives on the 4 tax reform bills submitted to the National Assembly by President Bola Tinubu. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikpen reports.
The 4 executive bills, which have only passed first reading in Parliament, are the Nigeria Tax Bill 2024, the Tax Administration Bill, the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. While the bills seek to harmonize tax administration in Nigeria, there are fears about provisions relating to VAT sharing formula for states based on derivation. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas notes that the intense public debate generated by the bills reflect their importance in the quest to sanitize tax administration in Nigeria.
Let me be clear. The House has not taken any definitive position on these bills. Our role is to scrutinize them thoroughly, ensuring they align with the best interests of our constituents and the nation at large.
So we are trying to increase tax revenue without increasing the tax burden on anyone. The poorest people will find significant reduction in their tax burden. Middle class, a little bit less reduction. Even the upper class and companies, large and small, we see a reduction in their tax burden.
Generated revenue is not a function of development in anywhere in the world. So therefore, the efficient use of revenue is the financial for development.
The bills are expected to promote trade facilitation and integrate the operations of revenue collecting agencies. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikpen, NTA News.
Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, says the task of ensuring that every child grows up in a safe, nurturing environment free from harm is a collective responsibility. This was in her statement marking the annual UN Day for the Prevention of and Healing from Child Sexual Exploitation, Abuse and Violence, noting that child abuse, whether through sexual exploitation, child labor, trafficking and rape in particular, are all grave crimes which are detrimental to a child attaining full potential. She says these acts defy the very essence of humanity and calls on members of society to be their brother's keeper by watching out and reporting any such incident to the appropriate authorities. While stating that any abuse to a child is an abuse to the very core of being, the First Lady says the creation of the UN Day is not merely a symbolic gesture. Rather, it is a call to action and a promise to children everywhere that we will stand for their rights and safeguard their well-being. The Presidency has reacted to the comments by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, describing the comments as, quote, unsolicited wisdom on leadership and governance in Nigeria. also alleging that the former president is in the habit of blaming those who served after his tenure for the nation's myriad challenges.
In a statement, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says it is expected of an elder statesman to join in constructive dialogue on attaining national progress. Onanuga maintains that Chief Obasanjo used the platform provided by Chinua Achebe Leadership Forum at Yale University to write off Nigeria as a failing country. He also points to the irony of Chief Obasanjo using the platform that celebrates Achebe to sermonize on the ideas of good governance, statecraft, economic management, and corruption should be apparent to discerning minds. He recalls that when he was alive, Chinua Achebe was a universally acclaimed moral, cultural, and literary icon with scant regard for Obasanjo. As professor, Achebe rejected the third highest national honor bestowed on him by the Obasanjo-led administration in 2004 on the grounds of the prevalence of power abuse, corruption, poor leadership, and in particular, state-sponsored brigandage endorsed by Chief Obasanjo. Onanuga further claims that brazen illegality and assault on the Constitution of Nigeria reached a disturbing height under the leadership of Chief Obasanjo, during which 4 governors who belonged to his party were unconstitutionally impeached. Onanuga notes that Obasanjo has always claimed to be all-knowing in fixing the economy, yet many, if not all, of the Nigeria's problems remain unsolved, as he recently admitted that his government made a mistake by not focusing on gas development, as the Tinubu administration has done today. All oil and gas players now know that Nigeria has more gas than oil, as Obasanjo prides his government on paying this $15 billion debt owed to the Paris Club. Still, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy says it was not a wise decision, as it was done when the country's critical economic infrastructure across sectors was in shambles. While oil receipts brought money into the country, Bayo Onanuga says Obasanjo failed to fix the deplorable federal roads or expand the national road network. He did not repair the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the Lagos-Abeokuta Road leading to his hometown in Abeokuta, the Otai-Diroko Road, and many others, the statement claims.
From the Presidency, the new Special Advisor to the President on Media and Public Communications, Daniel Bwala, has assumed duty as spokesman of the President. Bwala, a lawyer and notable public affairs analyst, restates his commitment to working with the pool of presidential media aides as a team, assuring the State House Press Corps of working together to address issues concerning governance.
So my appreciation is to the President, as a man of courage who has considered me worthy to appoint me as his spokesman, special advisor on media and public communication, and will ensure that in communicating on behalf of the President to the Nigerian people, we do our best in the discharge of our function. We are going to be honest with you. Government is not perfect. Government is a work in progress. What government does consistently is to communicate to the people not just the intention of government, but the effort of government in delivering on the promise to the Nigerian people. This reform we have embarked upon is tough, but it's what we are prepared for. And we are going to put in our best. In the course of the administration, we are going to make sure that we communicate to the Nigerian people what we are doing. And I can readily tell you that the administration has achieved tremendously. If you're looking at it from the point of view of somebody who is neutral, because the nation consists of government, the opposition, and the people. Sometimes in the messaging, focus is made most of the times on the opposition instead of the people. That's why the role of the media, as you all know, is very important, because what you do is you report what is happening and the Nigerian people can judge.
This is the network news on NTA. Still to come, Nigeria rated high on sustainable land management at COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. Details and more in a moment. It's nice to know you're still watching the network news on NTA. We're talking solid minerals now, and the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development has officially launched Mining Week, a key initiative aimed at attracting both local and international investors to Nigeria's solid minerals sector. With Nigeria's mining potential largely untapped, the week-long event seeks to position the country as a global mining hub while promoting sustainable development within the sector. Ekene Undului reports.
Nigeria reportedly has about 44 exploitable minerals in more than 500 locations across the country, with the potential of making solid minerals the bedrock of the country's economy. The Mining Week is providing opportunity for investors to look at areas of collaboration to harness potentials in the sector.
Before now, people will come in, cut away our minerals and go and refine and bring back, and then we're paying so much on what belongs to us. Now with the local value addition, no one is allowed now to just legally carry out our product without adding value. Now this is creating jobs for Nigeria.
Discussions that followed aims to equip Nigerian mining companies with tools to attract investments.
Focus really is to help small mining businesses position themselves sufficiently to attract the kind of investment, and on the government side also to take another look at the policy framework.
The next few days is expected to foster more partnerships with highlights on Nigeria's commitment to develop a sustainable mining sector. Ekene Undului, NTA News.
The federal government says it is committed to leveraging fit-for-purpose statistics for planning and implementation of Renewed Hope programs. Musa Abubakar reports that the Minister of Budget and Economic Development, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, reaffirmed this during the celebration of African Statistics Day in Abuja.
Statistics are more than numbers. They are said to be the backbone of informed decision-making in every society. That is why every year on November 18th, African countries come together to celebrate African Statistics Day. This year, Nigeria's National Bureau of Statistics joins the continent to spotlight an essential theme, supporting education by modernizing the production of fit-for-purpose statistics. This celebration is a call to action for policymakers to invest in data production systems.
Sanctity of data is the watchword in Nigeria under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have recognized as a government and given independence to the National Bureau of Statistics.
Modernized statistical systems are essential for understanding enrollment trends, literacy rates, and disparities in educational access. By embracing technology and innovation, the MBS is ensuring that data collected reflects the realities on the ground.
We are piloting a program using technology to strengten the collation, validation, and dissemination of administrative statistics across federal ministries, departments, and agencies of government.
By working with international partners and leveraging advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, the MBS believes it can create actionable insights to improve student outcomes. In Abuja, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Still talking data and statistics, we're approaching December and it begs the question, has there been a reduction in road crashes from 2023 till date? Let's bring in Oyeyemi Ajayi to give us the facts and figures on this. Yemi?
All right, thank you, Naja. Now, let me emphasize the fact that road crash is a global phenomenon, but it remains an issue that needs serious attention due to number of lives always lost when it occurs. Now, the Federal Road Safety Corps is working around the clock to reduce to the barest minimum incidents of road crashes, especially when there is a target to reduce crashes by 50% by 2030, in line with the UN Decade of Action for Road Safety 2021-2030. Now, according to the Corps, a total of 5,081 people were killed in various road crashes across the country in 2023. Now, in the analysis, we'll be talking about the fact that 10,617 cases of road traffic crashes were recorded, aside the 5,081 deaths and 31,000 874 injured. Now, in the same time, talking about between January and September 2024, road traffic cases, we had 7,011. Talking about the cases, over 43,000 reduction from 2020 compared to 2023. Now, talking about the deaths recorded, we had 3,767. This connotes about 25% reduction from 2023. Now, the injured, we had 22,373, which is about 30% reduction from 2023. Now, out of 1,400 in the first quarter, out of 1,471 persons killed, we had 1,169 male, which is 79.5% of the total number. Now, out in the same column, we have 302 female, which is 20.5%. Now, in the same quarter, those injured, number injured, we had 6,749 male, which is 77.9%, and 1,910 female, which is 22.1%. Now, in that fact, major causes highlighted for the crash, it must be noted that about 80% of crashes recorded across the country happened at night. When talking about this, aside this, we had the excessive use of alcohol, overspeeding, overloading, especially trailer drivers that convey humans, animals, and goods at the same time from parts of the country to another. Now, as leading causes of road accidents in Nigeria. Others include wrongful overtaking, the use of worn-out tires, non-certified drivers on the roads. Now, during these Ember months, which is the campaign which FRC actually embarks upon, apart from the enlightenment campaigns at different motor parks, which was the only point of call in 2023, this year the call is engaging stakeholders at different times to drive home the need for safety on roads, and this is done across the country. That's it for now.
Thank you, Yemi. I would have asked questions, but that was a comprehensive presentation of the fact sheet. Thank you very much. Now, away from road crashes, Nigeria has been ranked high on implementation of the Agrisol project, which has made significant strides across 19 northern states in Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory. Charles Alpha reports that a $7 billion food security funding topped discussions on the sidelines of COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan.
In Azerbaijan, it was more of a progress report, how countries have fared since the inception of the project in 2022, X-ray challenges and opportunities that exists in countries, and the kind of funds needed to scale up implementation, particularly in agricultural development.
At the Nigerian scale, we have been celebrated as one of the fastest projects that has delivered to its project development objective. And from the feedback we got from those who participated, I think the promissory notes are very exciting and inviting. We hope that those promissory notes will be translated to actionable actions like we have with the World Bank intervention.
I am hoping that we can bring some of our water technologies there so that seeing is believing.
When you talk of, water management, you also, think of finding ways of, providing sustainable irrigation system.
After a series of progress reports from countries, Nigeria's Agrisol project, supported by the World Bank to the tune of $700 million, was commended for the strides recorded since inception in Nigeria. In Baku, Azerbaijan, Charles Alpha, NTA.
The federal government has commenced reconstruction of sections cut off by flood along the federal road linking Kano, Bauchi, Yobe and Borno states. The project under the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, is part of the Federal Ministry of Works determination to ensure total rehabilitation of the federal highways. Awal Abdullahi reports.
This route that passes through Azare, Katagum and Zaki local government areas is the federal road linking Kano, Bauchi and Yobe states. The road, which was cut off by floods and caused a setback to both economic and farming activities in the area, is now under rebuilding process. This reconstruction work of two cell box culverts by the Federal Road Maintenance Agency provided alternative routes before the completion of the projects.
Everything is done to specification, and I'm very sure the quality of work going on is very good. I know it will stand the test of time. We are in around 50% completion. So in the next 2 weeks, the road will be connected back and the motorists will use the road. While we are doing it fast so that we can use it in this type road.
The federal road through Katagum, Shira and Giade local government areas of Bauchi State to other northwestern states is also requiring urgent attention due to collapse of its major culverts. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
Advocating a common voice to align with strategies to scale up global business opportunities topped at the agenda at a meeting heralding the 13th United Human Rights and Business Forum in Lagos. Lynn Leneke reports that the meeting was organized by the Office of the High Commissioner of the United Nations Human Rights and UN Global Compact Network, Nigeria.
With the emerging trends in various sectors of the 10 Sustainable Development Goals, the need to evolve strategies to address challenges experienced across the globe remains critical to this meeting. The collective collaboration of stakeholders, they say, is required. The meeting is expected to brainstorm and come up with a workable, actionable plan for Nigeria's priority areas that will be presented at the 13th United Nations Forum on Business and Human Rights in Geneva soon.
This is made up of a group of stakeholders who are trying to mainstream human rights into business practices in Nigeria.
They want to make sure that there's responsible business conduct that puts people at the center.
Implementation will scan across the development of a human rights policy, how to go through a human rights due diligence, how to track a human rights impact assessment. These are all the materials or the technical aspects that are very much important for businesses to understand.
So for me, it's people in this room hoping to make those collaborations to ensure we're addressing these issues.
Other critical areas pointed out focuses on implementation of the United Nations Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights in Agriculture, opportunities for promoting responsible human rights conduct, and corporate accountability. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
This is the Network News on NTA. Stay tuned for more reports after this timeout.
The patrons of All Stars International Football Club Abuja, on behalf of the President, the Executive Committee, the Board of Trustees and the entire members of the club, hereby congratulate Malam Shehu Diko, a fellow patron, on his well-deserved appointment as the Chairman of the National Sports Commission by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, JCFR. It is our honest belief that as Malam Diko sets out on this national assignment, his time at the NSA will bear the desired fruits for the betterment of our sports sector. With kind regards from His Majesty King Edward Asimene William Dapapepo III, His Excellency Peremobowoye Bebe, Honorable Nuhu Dambaram.
Business News with Musa Abubakar. Musa.
Thank you, Deja. Let's now talk business. The federal government is asking the government and business community of China to give preference to Nigeria in areas of business expansion and imports. This is as Nigeria is set to deepen relations in strategic sectors of agriculture, minerals development, digital and blue economy, in addition to manufacturing and technology transfer, among other critical areas of the economy. This was at the Nigeria-China Economic and Trade Partnership Forum, a reciprocal of the first China-Nigeria Economic and Trade Cooperation Conference with President Tinubu in Beijing. Both countries agreed to increase the volume of trade, which stands at $22.5 billion.
Nigeria's exports to China was $2.4 billion US, while exports from China stood at $20.1 billion US.
Collaborate more in infrastructure development.
And over the years, we have seen Brazil transition to a net export country to China. We must do our best to foster bilateral collaborations with China that can drive sustainable development and economic growth for Nigeria.
Nigeria is an influential African country with a huge population size and development potential.
And now to capital market, the equities market and first weekday of trading in positive territory as investors gained 15.727 billion naira to sustain gains recorded on Friday. A total of 413 million shares in 9,004 deals corresponding to a market value of 5.3 million were traded. Today's data shows 40% improvement in volume, 21% decline in turnover, but 7% improvement in deals. Market capitalization increased to 59.2 trillion naira. Japan Gold and Ventures recorded the highest volume of 179 million traded shares, followed by Consolidated Hallmark Holdings, Access Holdings, and United Bank for Africa. Well, that's Business Network News continues with Najatu after the break.
Parts of the country. This informed the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's-led administration to deploy measures that include the provision of T-129 attack helicopters, Alpha jet fighters, and the Benchcraft, all geared towards changing the narrative.
We come to commission these new operations with renewed vigor, and the aircrafts and the UAVs that are now stationed here to support the fight against terrorism and banditry in the northwest.
The Defense Minister, Badaru Abubakar, while interacting with the troops, commended the troops in their continued effort at dislodging bandits and other criminal elements, leading to the rescue of more captives.
Their assurance is to continue to supply them with the state-of-the-art equipment. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has always, at all times, support the Air Force.
The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has continued to give Nigerians the full assurance to bring an end to security challenges bedeviling the country. Part of this effort is what we are witnessing here with the inauguration of the aircraft by the Minister of Defense here in Katsina State. Suleiman Kodogi, NTA News.
Next is Global Update.
Compete aos que estão de volta desta mesa.
Lula said this alliance was born of the G20, but it is global. Let this summit be marked by the courage to act. The Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty marks an early summit success for left-wing Lula, with a total of 81 countries signing on to it. Argentina was the only one of the 19 countries in the G20 to initially hold off signing on to the initiative, but it eventually came around after negotiations. From the African front, Gabon's military rulers announced their new constitution has been overwhelmingly approved in a referendum, according to provisional results, marking a new chapter for the oil-rich African nation. The new constitution also requires presidential candidates to be exclusively Gabonese, with at least one Gabon-born parent and have a Gabonese spouse. Comforts, Fashion, NTA News.
It's time to now join Bade Adele in his sports arena. Bade, what's happening?
Many thanks, Najatu, and of course it's about the Super Eagles of Nigeria who wrapped up their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying campaign with a disappointing 2-1 defeat to Rwanda on Monday evening at the Goswell Akpabio International Stadium in New York. The three-time African champions, who were missing several key players, entered the match already qualified for next year's tournament in Morocco as winners of Group D. Expectedly, followers of the game in Nigeria expressed their dissatisfaction with the Super Eagles' performance.
Done better. That's football for you. Sometimes you win, sometimes you draw, sometimes you lose. Nevertheless, the boys gave their best, but their best wasn't good enough.
This is not how champions play football. We are champions. We are the head of the log table. And we are
Expect Nigerians to react. All right, let's quickly take a look at other AFCON matches played today. Now, Benin Republic and Sudan needed to avoid losses against Libya and Angola in their final group games. Benin Republic played to a goalless draw away at Libya, while Sudan and Angola drew as well. Both secured their spots in the finals. Benin Republic finished with 8 points behind Nigeria, who lost to Rwanda 2-1 in Uyo, while Sudan ended up second in Group F with 8 points, trailing Angola, who topped the group with maximum, with 14 points that they could get in that group. All right, in Accra, Ghana, Ghana concluded their disappointing 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying campaign with a 2-1 loss to Niger at the Accra Sports Stadium. The defeat confirmed the Black Stars' last-place finish in Group F, marking a historic low as they failed to win any of their 6 matches, while Malawi defeated Burkina Faso 3-0. To date, 20 nations, along with host Morocco, have secured their places in the Africa Cup of Nations for next year. All right, that's a bit when it comes to sports. Let's now return to Niger, who obviously is not happy that the Super Eagles lost today.
Not happy at all, Bade, but what can we do? We win some, we lose some. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, condoles with the Muslim community of Minna and the government of Niger State over the death of Chief Imam of Minna Central Mosque, Sheikh Isa Fari. A statement by Special Assistant Media to the Minister, Rabiu Ibrahim, describes Sheikh Isa Fari as a respected religious leader who spent the greater part of his 93 years in the service of Allah and propagation of Islam, championing the advancement of peaceful coexistence in Niger State and the country at large. The minister condoles the governor of Niger State and the emir of Minna, Alhaji Dr. Umar Farouk Bahagu, over the loss of a sage whose fountain of knowledge offered wise counsel and quality recommendation for the socio-economic development of Minna Emirate and the entire state. Idris calls on the government and people of Niger State to take solace in the legacy the Sheikh left behind and continue to keep to his teachings of love, tolerance and unity, praying for the peaceful rest of the soul of the late Sheikh Fari. The family of Ala Lene from Bachulum, Ako, Taka local government area of Benue State announces the passing on to glory of their beloved mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, mother-in-law, sister and wife, Mama Samsuli Alice Ala Mary, who passed away on Monday, 28 October 2024, aged 74. Burial arrangements, according to the family, indicates that the wake keep comes up on Tuesday, 19th November 2024, at St. Valentine's Catholic Church in Conte M, Bako, Bacho, Nune, Taka local government area of Benue State at 4 p.m. Mama will be buried on Wednesday, 20th November 2024. Announcer Susan Ala, Assistant Director Administration with the Nigerian Television Authority. To end the news, here is a recap. President Bola Tinubu is attending the 19th Heads of State and Government Summit of the Group of 20 Leaders, G20 Leaders in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with the theme Building Just and Sustainable Planet. And Senate gives states 6 months to access universal basic education matching grants to boost that sector. On that note, we conclude the network news on NTA. Thank you for staying with us.